Okay, hi everyone, it's 6 o'clock. Welcome to our first webinar of session 2, and thank you so much for making it. I know it's like dinner time, but thank you so much. So just a little bit of an introduction. My name is Sherry, and I'll be one of the online tutors that will be guiding you through the sessions. Also, we have Josh. He'll introduce himself in a minute. So I guess just a little bit about me. I did my undergraduate degree in biology, and then I recently got my master's in epidemiology. And then, Josh, did you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure thing. So, hi everybody. I'm kind of the co-tutor here that'll be working with you in the seminar webinars as well. I am Joshua Udosfield. I'm a student in UH Manoa that's currently going for his electrical engineering degree at the moment. And happy to work with you guys, and hopefully we'll get quite a lot done in these seminars here. So yeah.
Great. Did everyone
Should I
else?
bring it back to you, Sherry, or?
Okay, sure. So I guess throughout the whole time we'll kind of do like a brief introduction with everyone. If you guys feel comfortable sharing a little bit about you, then that would be great. Just so that we can get to know each other a little bit more. Did you guys wanna share a little bit about yourself, like your name and maybe if you guys are attending college this upcoming semester?
Hi, my name is Amber, and I am attending college brand new this year. I've never done this before. I'm very excited, and I've been out of school for a long time. I'm 33, and so I really need to refresh on my math, and so I'm excited to do this course with you.
Yay, nice to meet you, Amber. What about Eileen or Kristen and Kyle? Did you guys want to introduce yourself also? Uh, okay, I think someone was trying to use their microphone. I'm not sure if we were able to hear you guys, but we'll also have a lot of time for introductions later. Um, did anyone else want to introduce themselves before we start the night? Okay, well, if any moment you guys feel like okay, I think I wanna say something about myself, just please feel free to use the talk button, and then also throughout the whole night, if you guys have any questions, please feel free to write it in our chat room or also use the talk button and ask us your question. Josh and I will be more than happy to try and help you as best as we can. So here is what we're gonna do today. Just a little bit of a welcome, just a quick Blackboard tools. Oh yes, please let us know if you have a hard time hearing me. Just a quick introduction on the tools that we have, just a quick poll, and also announcements and resources, and then we'll go ahead with the overview. So the materials are actually from CollegeBoard. So I know many of you did not come to the first session, or actually maybe none came to the first session, right? But in the first session, the overview was actually given by one of the CollegeBoard consultants. So we were able to get the materials from her, and then that's what we will be going over today. So I guess just show of hands, are any of you familiar with Blackboard Collaborate? Okay, good. So some people are trying to use the poll button, and the others are typing it. So good. So just for those of you who are not familiar with it, this is actually the platform that we use for regular tutoring sessions. So then it will lead to like a different link. So this is where we're hosting our webinars, but for our regular yearly and everyday sessions, it actually goes to the same but like a different launcher at the same time, although it uses Blackboard Collaborate. So here, what we're basically going to use is the pointers. If you want to point something, it's really helpful for the students. The most common tools that the tutors often use is the pen tool because they get to write on the whiteboard, and also the students if they feel comfortable. Most of the times the students are most likely to use the text box because it's easier to actually type on the keyboard, right, than actually trying to write with the trackpad or their mouse. And then we also have a very a wide variety of shapes that they can use either for geometry, or if maybe they have an algebra problem that they need, we actually use the solid shapes. And then these are some of the tools that we use. Sometimes the student comes into the tutoring room and work with a tutor, but there are also times when they feel comfortable enough to be working on a problem by themselves, and then if they need the tutor, they will press this button called raise hand. So it actually looks like this, where it gives you that ding sound, and then you can see who raised their hand. So the tutor will go and attend to the student and ask what did they need help with. Some of you guys have used the yes or no tools that we used earlier, so this is actually good for questions. And then it's really good when you have a big group and you want to see a wide variety of who used this or who used certain things. So that's basically our Blackboard tools. Just a quick poll, I guess. Can anyone let us know where did you hear about us or hear about our skills webinar? Okay, good. And I think Eileen is using her microphone, but I'm not able to hear it. Josh, are you able to hear Eileen on your side?
Unfortunately, I can't hear her either. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So sorry, Eileen. I think you may have to use the the chat for now, and then after that, we'll try to troubleshoot it so that the next time you come in, we'll make it work. Okay? But thank you. Okay, so we have a wide variety. So the flyer, we also have Maui College and Hawaii Community College. Good. Okay, good. So we have a wide variety. So thank you so much for joining us. And then just before we begin, if you guys could please write your first and last name, teacher if applicable, and also your school. If you don't feel comfortable writing it on the chat box, you can send Josh or myself private chats so that no one else can see your information. So I guess we'll give everyone about a minute just to get that. Oh, sorry, my mic wasn't on. Okay, here we'll give everyone about a minute to let us know. It's only for a record. We don't share it with anyone. It's completely confidential. If you don't feel comfortable writing your name on the chat box, please feel free to send me and Josh a private message just so that no one else can see it. But if you could send us your first and last name, school, that would be great. Thank you. Okay, great. So I think that was everybody. So good. Okay, so just a quick announcement. So today we'll be going over the ACCUPLACER overview, and then on Tuesday we'll be going over our actual skills webinar, which is measurements, and then this is our schedule for session 2. We'll also have this at the end, so if you guys have any questions, please feel free to also ask us throughout the whole time. But other than that, this is the next generation ACCUPLACER. The materials are from Miss Deborah Anderson. She's actually one of the College Board consultant who did our first session with us, like as I mentioned in the beginning. So I guess just a brief description, what is the ACCUPLACER exam? So the ACCUPLACER exam is an assessment that measures students' readiness for college-bearing credit courses, also known as a placement exam, right? So most of the time when you take the placement exam, it will tell you if you're ready for college level mathematics, which would be 100 level and above. So from there, we can look at the test features. So in terms of the test features, they're actually creating a next generation ACCUPLACER that where they have several changes. So here currently there's reading comprehension, sentence skills, which is not something in our area, right? So today we'll be doing math skills. But in terms of math, they initially had arithmetic, elementary, algebra, and also college level math, where the score ranges from 200 to 120. And for the next generation ACCUPLACER, they will have arithmetic, quantitative reasoning, algebra and statistics, advanced algebra and functions. Do you guys know if we're currently using the current ACCUPLACER and when the next generation ACCUPLACER will take into place? Just do it. Okay, so the question was, do you guys know if we're currently on the current ACCUPLACER and when will the next generation ACCUPLACER take into place? Okay, so at least we can learn something together. So from my understanding, many community colleges are actually using the current ACCUPLACER, but we're also transitioning to the next generation ACCUPLACER. So as we start preparing students, right, for the Compass, previously known as the Compass exam, the next gen ACCUPLACER, you actually want to focus and tailor your preparation towards these materials right here. So arithmetic, quantitative reasoning, algebra and statistics, and also advanced algebra and functions. So that's the test features. And then it's designed so that it targets these three areas. We mentioned it in the previous slides, but basically it will be broken down into three components. So this quantitative reasoning, algebra, and statistics is also known as the QAS, while the advanced algebra and function is known as the AAF. So I think throughout the slides and the presentation, I will mention briefly about the QAS and also the AAF. So please let us know if you have any questions also. So arithmetic from the College Board, they wrote the following definition. The next generation arithmetic placement test is a computer adaptive assessment of test takers' develop ability for selected mathematic content, where the questions will focus on computation, order of operations, estimations, rounding, comparing and ordering values in different formats, and also recognizing equivalent values across formats. So what that means is that currently there's about 20 items on the test where you want to focus on whole number operations, fractions, decimals, percentage, and then there's also computation and fluency. Okay, polynomial is next, Jen. Okay, thank you, Amber. And then there's also different types, so discrete math, and also for the calculator, I know that you're not allowed to bring your own because I think with the test, it actually comes with a 4-function calculator, or it will pop up during the test because it's a computer-based test, right? So they will be able to provide those for you. And also just a further breakdown from College Board, they mentioned that there will be about 3 to 5 items under whole numbers. So if you feel comfortable with addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, then this one should not be too hard. But sometimes it gets kind of hard too in terms of fraction if you were to add or subtract. And also we'll go over how to multiply fractions So that's something that we will do in future webinars. So the arithmetic, I think, is something that we can all study, right? And then CollegeBoard also have an app that you can download to help you prepare along the way. But in terms of QAS, has anyone ever taken statistics courses before? Okay, good. So actually, when I started going to college, I was actually freaked out by the thought of statistics because I thought it would be really, really difficult and stuff like that. But I think many of you guys have already seen the materials. So when I started taking statistics courses, it actually involves mean, median, mode. So I'm sure you guys remember that, right? And then there's also what's a histogram and box and whiskers plot. So that's mainly statistics. So whenever you hear statistics, don't be afraid. It's the things that we already learned, except in a fancier term to describe data. So that's what it means. And also by the definition that they gave under CollegeBoard, it's to test the student's ability, even for students who are in non-STEM fields, but at the same time you want to be able to apply ratios, proportions, linear expressions and equations, and also graphing. So that's one of the scope of our future webinars actually, and we'll show you the schedule again just to show you guys where all of these components are coming from. And then in terms of the features, there's also 20 items where they have rational numbers, ratio and proportional relationship. Exponents are usually a big one, especially because there's logarithmics equations that are involved. There's also linear equations, linear applications in graph, the probability sets, and also descriptive statistics. So that's where your mean, median, mode comes in, and also some geography concepts. But in addition to that, if we were to look at it in a broken down manner, there's the rational numbers, also the ratio and proportional relationships, exponents, right? So there's radicals, and how do you apply scientific notation, which is not only important in math, but you will actually see it if you guys were to take chemistry courses as part of your general requirements. There's also algebraic expressions, where you're creating and evaluating expressions to represent situations and using properties to combine like terms. So then we'll have that under, I believe, expressions. And then there's linear equations, where you create equations with one or two variables, and then you're also trying to solve two linear equations. So that's when you're trying to figure out what x and y's are. On top of that, there's also probability and sets. So I guess for those of you, are you guys pretty comfortable with probability? Okay, don't worry. I think there was a time too when probability just really confuses me. But if you guys ever need help, Josh and I are here, and also our skills webinar. And then there's also descriptive stats. So that's where you try to see what does the histogram mean, the box plot, and the scatter plots, just like what we were saying earlier. And also there's the geometry concepts for pre-algebra and also algebra. So if you were given a word problem, and how would you be able to find the area, the perimeters, the volumes, and how do you apply the Pythagorean theorem to solve for a side or maybe angles? So those are some of the things that we'll be covering. And then lastly, the third part of the next generation ACCUPLACER explores AAF, which is the Advanced Algebra and Functions. So they really want to test your knowledge in which are you able to find functions including linears or quadratic equations, right? Or radicals and polynomials, and also try to um, use those use your knowledge to apply it in algebra, because I think most of the times students struggles with linear equations or factoring. So those are actually big on mathematics, right? So then under the test, they'll be looking at linear equations, equations and applications, factorings, quadratics, also functions, polynomial expressions, radical and rational equations, exponential and logs equations. So these are actually some of the items that they will assess. Also, if we were to look at the breakdown, the linear equations look at how do you solve linear equations, factoring. So Josh actually has this really neat trick. It's called the X method. I'm not sure if you guys have heard of it. So if you guys need help with factoring, you guys should definitely log in for that session. And also there's also the quadratic equations, where you're trying to simplify inequalities and also quadratic equations. So that would be solving for x, right? And also polynomials, so you can have two variables or you can have multi-variables in your equations. Lastly, we see that geometry are also here. It's not just in the QAS, but it's also under the AAF section. So they're here. So if you can see it, you can also see that exponents also appear in this section. So those are really good things to note, because then you can strengthen those subject areas to enhance and make sure that you can increase your score. So I guess just with that, most of them we cover geometry. The measurements, it's mainly conversion, so I'm not sure how comfortable you guys are with converting, but that's what we will be doing on Tuesday. And then followed by geometry, so we'll try to cover shapes. The factoring on July 27th is what I was mentioning earlier, where Josh has this really neat tricks. And then we're actually going to be looking at how you can solve for x in these problems. But it's just a very quick overview. Those are the materials that were passed down to us from CollegeBoard. Do you guys have any questions so far? Okay, sounds good. So I believe that's pretty much it for the overview that we have. We're sorry, it's really simple. Most of the items that Deborah had to in her presentations were the English component, where it talks about more about the writing and the reading, but we're not covering those. So we mainly went over what it would be like in the math. And then have you guys downloaded the app yet? The Next Generation app? Next Generation ACCUPLACER app. I believe they have it under, I think under their website, but I believe that it will help you prepare, and it's also a free resource for students. So if you really want to do well, you can combine our math skills webinar as well as the app, and I think you guys should be good. But other than that, we will officially start our webinar with measurements on Tuesday. And then Josh is also one of our regular tutors online. So if you guys go to the following website, manoa.hawaii.edu/OLA, that's our homepage. And then on the left side of it, there's Enter Tutoring Room. And under Enter Tutoring Room, you guys can log in and work with the tutor. So one of the advice that we gave to the students from session 1 is if they were to come to the webinars that we're hosting, they can always go back to the to the tutoring room and ask for more questions. You guys can also take the examples that we're gonna give you guys and then go into the tutoring room and ask the tutors, could you please give me a similar question? Just so it's a little bit more hands-on. But other than that, that's pretty much it for our overview. Yay, thank you so much for coming. And if you guys have any questions, Josh and I will be here. And then we can work together towards your questions also. Oh, the website to get the app. Let me pull that up right now. Okay, good questions. So the app is actually with that website right there. All you have to do is create like a free account. After that, you can access it. And then to answer Cal's questions, it usually starts at 6 o'clock. For session one, typically we were hoping to keep it under an hour, 6 to 7, but there were times when it went all the way to 7:30 or 8 o'clock, so 6 to 7:30 most likely for the classes, for the sessions. But it's good because what we do is we introduce a topic, give you guys some background information on it, and then give you guys problems also to keep you guys engaged and also to strengthen your math skills with us. So hopefully you guys will enjoy it. No problem. Anyone else have any questions? Thank you so much, and I hope to see you guys on Tuesday. And then Josh and I will be here also if you guys have any more questions.